Hello, good morning, guys, and this is Coding with Goto, and today we'll be talking about basically just the average cases for Septober topic for public forum and how you can rebut them and what are the main cases. So, without further ado, let's dive in. Okay, guys, so first thing, we're just basically gonna go to first thing. Okay, guys, first thing we're gonna go to a doc. So, this is September PF. So, we're gonna basically going between the neg and the F. So for the neg, the main contentions are climate, climate change, Indo-Pacific trade-off, indigenous, Ru- Russia hedge. This is mostly an F, but there's one way you can run it in neg, and then cooperation, and then escalation, which is basically counts as that. So I'm gonna just take that out. So these are the five main topics, and for F, we have we have Polar Silk Road, Russia hedge, China, and then we also have climate change. Wait, this could be run as F. I'll explain it later. But climate change can also be run, but it's a little risky. And then NATO. So those are the main contenders I'm going to be talking about. First, we're going to talk about climate change. So basically, how you're going to run this case is you're going to say basically that currently. So we're going to go through uniqueness, link, internal link, and impact. So uniqueness is the status quo, like basically what's happening right now. Uniqueness. Yeah. So uniqueness. So currently this is basically the status quo, what's happening right now. We're gonna say climate change funding is high. We're gonna say climate change is being battled. And next then link, it's gonna be us going in deteriorate the Arctic, and then impact, well, millions die. That's basically the main. No park trade-off. Uniqueness. We're gonna say tensions are high in the region. So just for a refresher, Indo-Pacific, it is basically talking about China, Taiwan, South Korea, that place. So basically the coast of the East of Asia. So uniqueness, tensions in the region. And so the basic main argument is that if we're gonna put RB in the Arctic, we're gonna have to take it from somewhere. So you're gonna have to prove. So you're gonna have to prove Indo Indo-Pak is on the block, is on chopping block, which is basically saying that if we're gonna put army, we're not gonna go into our reserves. We're basically gonna take army out of the Indo-Pacific. Next, then that's what you have to prove. So uniqueness tensions are high. We will pull out of Indo-Pak. We will pull out of Indo-Pak if firm link. This causes South. This causes China to invade Taiwan and South Korea to proliferate. Next, impact hit on semiconductor industry, nuclear consequences. Okay, so now to go into more depth in this, we're basically saying that if everyone knows that China's always wanted to be invade Taiwan, reuniting the motherland. So and U.S. is currently like one of the main forces to stopping that. So you're gonna have to prove that too. There are many resources out there that say this. So if we pull out, China's gonna see an opportunity, and they're gonna go and invade Taiwan. That's gonna cause maybe a war, or and next, since Taiwan is the largest semiconductor producer and it's a really large port that's going to be attacked. The semiconductor industry, and next, South Korea will proliferate because currently North Korea, we know it has lots of nukes, and South Korea is literally under it, and North Korea wants to unite Korean Peninsula, so that's why South Korea will proliferate and start making nuclear weapons to protect itself. And we're going to talk about the rebuttals in the app. So first, now indigenous uniqueness. So indigenous, the one comeback for this, it's like a really large one. If you can prep for that, well, you there are also many, but that's like one of the main ones, and I'll tell you that later. So uniqueness, you're gonna have to prove that indigenous. So basically, the point of this thing is saying that currently trying saying that things are good. If we go in, bad things are gonna happen, and next and yes, impact people are gonna die. With economy is gonna take a hit. We're gonna lose hegemony, etc. etc. So uniqueness, indigenous people are fine right now, or you could say are thriving right now. Link us going in will cause indigenous people to be displaced. And next, these are some sub-contentions: pollution of the land. And then there's also overfishing, which comes under indigenous, saying that if we overfish, no, nothing's gonna be for indigenous. So then overfishing's gonna happen, then human trafficking, etc., etc. So basically, just bad things are gonna happen to indigenous people. Impact, well, 500k indigenous people in the Arctic. That's basically it. But the one thing that might be attacked here is they'll only say 500,000 people. That is nothing compared to the scale of 8 billion people. But if you can defend against that attack, that is actually a really good thing. Thing Next thing we're gonna try is cooperation. So cooperation, uniqueness is currently cooperation is happening right now, and cooperation isn't very largely run because of Ukraine. But if you run this, it's actually kind of a good argument. Uniqueness, cooperation's happening right now. Link, us going into the Arctic will undo it. Oh wait, I forgot to rip turrets. Okay. Us going into the Arctic will undo cooperation, and then impact, well, non-cooperation, consequences ensue. Yeah. Okay, so this is like the main characters you're gonna run against if you're doing novice mostly are climate change, Indo-Pak, indigenous, cooperation maybe, and next and mostly escalation. Like 100% everyone's gonna learn escalation. Escalation is basically us saying that uniqueness Arctic is peaceful, and next link us going in will anger Russia. Impact. The main impact is nuclear war will break out between superpowers, nuclear war slash superpower war, etc. Yeah. So now we're gonna go to the app. And so now let's just talk for rebuttals for the app if you're running app. First thing for climate change, you can say that us going into the Arctic will actually result in more cooperation as the Coast Guard will be there, will be uniting NATO countries. That is one rebuttal, saying that if we go in there, we're basically saying that we will actually create more cooperation to solve climate change faster. And that is like that's like one of the only rebuttals. That's why climate change is one of the only reasons that is good. But you can still win with AF, and I've seen many people do that. Yes, so that's climate change. Next, we're talking about Indo-Pak trade-off. If you can prove that trade-off won't even happen, we'll take off from our reserves. Indigenous, you'll basically say that indigenous is nothing on the scale to 8 billion people if you have a larger impact, and say that the U.S. is actually being cooperative with indigenous people. Cooperation, same thing as climate change. Us going in will provide more cooperation. Escalation, you're basically saying that us going in, Russia will not escalate because we're going to be militarizing our bases, like that. So yeah, those are just the gist of the rebuttals. Pacific Road, I'm just gonna put that as China, then Russia. Okay, oh, let's go. Okay, Russia. Basically, uniqueness. Russia is aggressive. Link. Us going in will deter Russia doing radical from doing radical things. Impact, we will save. Yeah, we'll save the economy, we're saving our land. So one instance of this is kind of old, but the Lobsnov Ridge region, Russia went and planted a flag. And next to Denmark and Canada also have their claims on the region, but it just went there, then now they're pinned down. That's one thing. And And the rebuttal for this is basically that Russia is not actually aggressive, it's actually defensive. Because there's either two ways to say it. One, they're bogged down in Ukraine. Like, there's too many resources in Ukraine. They don't have anything to be aggressive right now. Second, you can say that 20% of their GDP is in the Arctic. That they won't risk that. They will put the motherland first. Then, now deterrence. Uniqueness. This is basically Russia and China, almost the same thing. Russia and China are expanding. Think, need to deter, and impact, well, save lives. So that's basically just a deterrence. We're basically going and deterring Russia and China and maintaining or save lives slash maintaining hegemony. Okay, that's basically a gist of deterrence. So there are many ways to run deterrence. That's just the main one. So now we're going to uniqueness. China's uniqueness is basically, well, that China is expanding via PSR, Polar Silk Road, and BRI. Link, us going in will stop that from happening. Okay, so the basically one of the impacts is that stop debt trapping. So basically, I'm just gonna write debt trapping stop, lives save. Okay, so basically China is basically debt trapping countries by giving them loans that they can't repay in part of the BRI and PSR initiative. Some can argue that it's not actually debt trapping, it's actually forgiving loans. And then I think us going in will stop that from happening. I'm not China is like one of the hardest cases to run because rebuttal for Link is basically that China doesn't have any military bases in the Arctic. It only has icebreakers to expand. So yeah, it doesn't have any military. They'll say that if us going in with military fight an economic problem, that will cause escalation. So then they can extend. So if you can, but rebuttal is saying that us going in militarily, and if we control the Bering Strait, and next time we will police the place. That means China cannot expand, and we're saving lives. And then the impact will that trapping stop lives saved from poverty. And then climate change, as I say, we're basically saying that climate change is worsening. Us U.S. is going. Oh wait, uniqueness. Climate change is worsening. Link, us going in will provide more co-op. Impact, well, slow climate change. And this is kind of risky to run because everyone's just going to say that, well, number one, everyone's just going to say that, well, number one, everyone's just going to say, well, number one, us going in will cause more emissions. But if you can somehow prove that us going in, okay, you can say that us going in is actually better than Russia going in. That is one of the rebuttals for climate change right here, saying that us so climate indigenous. And this is a rebuttal from the app saying that us going in is actually better because Russia and China are worse for our indigenous people and they are worse for climate change. So if we go and we deter them, we're actually saving climate change comparatively. That's so that's uh so that's a rebuttal. And then if you can run Russia, you can run deterrence, you can run China, maybe you can run climate change, and then you can run you can also run NATO maybe. Wait. You can also run NATO. I I'll just so you can run NATO. Well, uniqueness uniqueness unique NATO is in bad condition. Link us going in will help our allies. And next then impact save NATO. So less explanation is needed for the case. It is self-explanatory. Now the negative rebuttals on AF. You can prove that Russia is defensive. Deterrence. There are no adversaries to deter. China is expanding economically and Russia's well being defensive. China, well, debt trapping is non-existent. And economic problem, if you put military, that's escalation. Climate change. Well, basically, us going in is actually worsening the climate. Even comparatively, we're still worsening the climate. And NATO solves that. NATO is already doing good on itself. We don't need to militarize the Arctic. So yeah, guys, that's the gist of the main cases and the rebuttals. So this is Connie with Gautam. Drop a like, share, and subscribe. And if you want help on more elaborate help on cases, go to Open Case List. Go to NDCA HSPF. You can go to any school. Like for example, let's go to that. You can go. Sorry. You can go here. You go here. You can download a case. You can read the case, and then basically get more help. But just be aware that Open Case List, it basically has like the stock arguments. They have like old cases, but still these are good. So you can go on to Open Case List. I'll be putting the link to this in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. This is Cody with Gautam, and I'll see you next time.